Oh, I've missed that intro. It's a shame we can only use it for one game, to be honest. Don't adjust your sets if you've not seen the match previews. We were winning in Australia, so we thought we'd start the season with the Australia intro, and we won against Everton, so we kept it going. And we lost to Palace, and we said if we lose, we'll put the France intro back on to see if that's a good luck charm. So we're not talking about France, we're not talking about pre-season. Ash isn't over there again. We're here to talk about Villa versus West Ham, and we'll see whether that intro gets another outing next week. I'm joined by John Townley this afternoon, who's been at the press conference at Bodymore this morning. You're covering the game for us on Sunday as well. I think Ash has got a bit of time off. So you're doing West Ham and Arsenal, I think you said. First of all, John, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Very hectic morning and afternoon. It's 4:00 now. So, yeah, really busy day, really busy weekend coming up. And then, plenty going on next week. So, obviously, transfer deadline too. So, plenty for us to get our teeth into.
Yeah, so we're going to, for those that have maybe not seen any of the match previews this season, I've just got to apologise, first of all, that I've got headphones plugged into my microphone for the first time in ages, so I can hear myself speaking. I can hear like the little noises that my mouth's making and stuff. It's freaking me out, so apologies if that's what you hear every single week. We're going to split these into the presser, an injury update, away from matchday, which is our kind of talking point that isn't specifically about West Ham or Aston Villa, predicted 11, and then predictions as well. We are tracking our predictions this season to see who gets on the best. And fair play to Ash, he nailed Bolton. He said 4-1, so big points to Ash for that one. I said 3-1. So when Leon Bailey scored, I was excited, but I thought, my predictions out the window. That's the real thing. So let's talk about the press conference then. First of all, like I said, you've been down to Bodymore today. You don't drive, or you didn't drive to there at least, and it's a difficult place to get to Bodymore Heath without a car. So how was it, first of all, before we delve into what Stephen Gerrard actually said? What was it like to go to Bodymore and have a chat with them?
Yeah, really good. For anyone who hasn't been around Bodymore recently, it's like grand spanking. It's really, really nice. It's all done up. I think there was a lot of work going on at Bodymore a couple of years ago, probably because of HS2 and things like that. But no, it's really nice. It's all shiny. It's all like golden gates. It's really good. I've been to other clubs and it's nothing like Bodymore. So no, it's always like a pleasure to go there. And in general, Gerrard himself really good today. I think it's two sections. You get the broadcast section, the written section done, and in the broadcast section, he was almost a little bit spiky. Probably some questions that he might have wanted to avoid. In the written section, he was really chirpy. He's always really good with the media, so no complaints. But no, it's always a privilege to go to Bodymore and fire the questions at the Villa manager.
I think that's a case for most managers, to be honest. The written section is a lot more relaxed, isn't it? It's not off the record, obviously, but there's a camera in your face and a microphone, so it is a little bit different, a bit more relaxed. So what did he say then? What was your kind of key takeaway from the press conference? We'll get into the topics as we go through, the injuries and stuff like that, but what was your kind of main takeaway from what he said?
It was transfers. That was the main topic of conversation. Obviously, next Thursday is the deadline. Plenty of work for Villa to do, many people think. The kind of message that Gerrard was putting across was that nothing's imminent, as in within a day or over the weekend perhaps, but Villa are a club that can sort of turn it on when they need to. If the right target becomes available, then it's almost like a 24-hour job. That I think this late in the transfer window as well, I think you start to see deals which have been done sort of overnight almost. It takes some transfers weeks and maybe months to get done, but when it comes towards the end, things happen things move quickly, especially with sort of dominoes effects, those sorts of things. Like I don't know, like a Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana, for example. Maybe Chalobah is someone that would go into if Fofana goes to Chelsea, that sort of thing. And he did touch upon that, the loan, especially for Diego Carlos as well. He kind of made it apparent that that's an option that the club will look at or have been looking at, because he's fully believes that Carlos will be back for some part of the season, so that's a positive in itself. I know that we've been linked to Bednarek and linked to I think Diallo from PSG and other players too. No names obviously being mentioned at the press conference, but plenty of that Gerrard said in terms of if it's not the right player, the player won't be joining the club. Mentioned that with Sarr as well. Obviously, that was a big topic of conversation. It's kind of clear that the club pulled out of that. Who was pulling out of it, I'm not too sure from which direction, because obviously a fee was agreed, but it didn't get completed for reasons X, Y, Z. I'm not too sure if that was Gerrard pulling out or if it was something else, someone else in the hierarchy. But Gerrard made it clear, and he was in full agreement that if not everyone's in agreement to that transfer, then it's not worth going ahead with, because the last thing you want to do is stockpile players when it doesn't make sense for the club to do so. So yeah, the main thing is transfers. Nothing imminent, but the club are looking. They're always in the market. It's probably not what fans want to hear with how many days we're away now. 5 days, is it?
Something like that.
Like 5-6 days away from the deadline. But I think next week it'll ramp up. I think we'll get the centre half in. Obviously, midfield's on the radar. We've just gone for Ismail Sarr, so clearly there's a forward. There's a forward that Gerrard wants too. So there's almost three. You're looking at sort of 3 players there. Don't think 3 is going to come through the door. I think there'll be an almighty push if we do get that. But certainly 1 or 2, I think that's almost the minimum. I think Gerrard wants at least 1 or 2.
Well, we started this off by saying it's been a long day. I realised my microphone wasn't even plugged in while you were talking there. There's a comment saying my audio is rubbish, so it should sound better now than it did a couple of minutes ago.
I didn't hear it, to be fair.
Hopefully it's working as it should do now. Well, Stan Transfers asked you a piece this morning about a dream end to the transfer window. So I want to highlight that piece and put those questions to you. He asked 4 questions to us, but I'll only put 2 of them to you. Yeah. The first one was, what does a dream end to the transfer window look like to Villa?
Ooh, all right,
I'll put a link to that piece in the comments, by the way, for people if they want to have a read.
Yeah. Well, I think obviously centre half is a must. I think it's difficult because at this time in the transfer window, are we going to improve the team drastically? For me, I don't think we are. So
the first team, the starting 11.
Yeah, pretty much. And to me, that's, if we're looking at players that are just going to come into the team for the sake of buying players, for the sake of buying a midfielder, I'd rather not. I'd rather wait till January. I'd rather wait till next summer, because you're just going to be left with players. For instance, and I don't like using him as an example, Morgan Sanson, we know he's a good player. I've said it before, if we were linked with him now and it's a Champions League player and he plays for Marseille and is a good player and we know he is, then we'd probably be, up about that and thinking, no, this is going to change and blah, blah, this is going to make the team so much better. And what's turned out is that you can't get a game. So we don't want to be left in that position again. Gerrard made it clear again in this presser saying that he inherited a big squad. There's a lot of volume and he wanted to trim it, but then take players in that are going to take us to that next level, I suppose. And I don't think we're going to get that through the door right now, unless it's like a loan for would Conor Gallagher make us so much better for 1 season? I want a 1 season loan. I'm not sure. There's obviously been links with him, Newcastle and Everton and West Ham after him as well. The centre half, again, you're just covering for Carlos. You're not going to get in the quality that he has, or replace it even. And then a forward, I think Ismail Sarr was probably as best as we're going to get for the price that we were willing to pay. So it's a tricky one. I don't want to be downbeat about it, Dan, but I don't think we can, in the space of a week, I don't think we're going to look too much better. I could be proven wrong when we go out and spend 30-40 million pound on a midfielder, or as we say, like West Ham going for Paqueta and Isak going to Newcastle for 60-70 million. So the deals are always in the pipeline for Premier League clubs because they've got money to spend. But I don't see it with Villa at the moment. It doesn't feel like we're sort of in the market to spend big, should we say, in the next week or so. I think we're more in the market just to sort of reassure the squad. But personally, always says as well, it's the summer and January, 2 windows, but both the same in terms of how they view it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they left it until January for that ideal midfielder or that attacker that we have missed out on in the summer. So yeah, ideally a centre half and a midfielder and potentially another forward, but I don't think we're going to get the players in that are going to drastically improve. So I'd be okay if we just get a centre half in at this point.
I mean, I'll ask you your dream transfer window then. You've basically answered my next question, which is what would be a nightmare window for Aston Villa, but not signing anybody. I think my answer to that earlier was centre half to replace Carlos. If this is dream, you want somebody to come in and be a starter. I don't think that's going to happen. I'd let Courtney Hawes go now. So any centre half, just a body at this point, I think is not acceptable. You at least want to see 1 centre half in. They look like they're going to be after a forward with the Sarr link. That probably depends on whether Archer stays or goes. And I said, in an ideal dream scenario, perfect scenario, if I'm playing Football Manager, I'd probably want 2 midfielders, not just 1. I think you probably want a number 6 and a number 8, to be honest, to have real options and add some more quality in there. Mm-hmm. So the flip side of that then, if it was a nightmare window then, just not signing anybody.
I think our main window would obviously be not getting in a centre half, or getting in a centre half that isn't at the level to really compete for a starting position. You need to be getting someone that's look, I think Jan Bednarek's an okay player, but if he comes into the team instead of Mings, Conser, or Chambers, are we better? For me, I don't think we are. I think if maybe like an Abdou Diallo that we've been linked to from PSG, I think that could improve us in specific games, and it's the right sort of profile, is what Diego Carlos is. I think a bad window, would just be getting the centre half that isn't either at the level, doesn't make us much better, or we don't get one at all. But then I would also add, we buy a midfielder or a forward that just adds volume, because we can't keep doing that, because we'll just be shipping off players to Turkey every summer. And that strapped us a little bit this summer, I feel. Sanson and Traore, Trezeguet, all these players kind of trying to get them off the wage book. Gilbert as well. Maybe that's sort of kept... I'm not sure if that's sort of, I don't know, kept us behind a little bit, but I don't know. I just don't think it's very ideal that we're always working to get players out the door instead of bringing them in throughout the summer. I think obviously we got our business done early, and it was good business with Kamara and Carlos, but we had a lot of work to do in terms of outgoings as well, and we can't be doing that every summer. No top club has 6 or 7 players that they need to ship out because they're just not good enough. It just screams of, not bad recruitment, but in 2 years, Traore goes from 70 million quid to, a couple million quid to, or whatever it is a loan deal now, isn't it, to Turkey? So, yeah, a bad window for me is just adding volume to the squad that's unnecessary.
There's a comment from Lee Johnson here. Not the football manager, I wouldn't have thought. He said, I really think better coaching will improve us more than a new signing. Gerrard has to get to grips with the job he has with this squad. And there was a comment, there's a YouTube profile with just an M as their username, so I don't have a picture, and it says Matt Kendrick. And I thought, is that the Matt Kendrick? Or is this just some impersonator? But it is Matt Kendrick. I messaged him just now. He said, I agree with Lee Johnson. The answer is not always in new signings, it's getting a tune out of the current squad. But that's not to say I wouldn't like a shiny new centre half, number 8 and striker. But yeah, I'll ask you what your dream would be. Yeah, you do want more numbers, because that's the excitement of football, isn't it? New players, it's shiny, it's something to get excited about. But there has got to be a point where you look at the squad and go, maybe the current squad we've got now isn't worth 400 million, because we've had to kind of build a squad, sell players, build another squad in, kind of, having to stay up and consolidate and stuff like that. But you have to get to a point where you think, we've spent a hell of a lot of money, what are we getting out of that money? Can a coach get something out of these players, rather than just going, here's a new £50 million striker, here's a new £30 million midfielder? Yeah. So, if you don't sign players, you've got to at least get the best out of what you've got, whether that's Gerrard, the coaching staff, or somebody else later down the line in years to come, months to come.
I think we mentioned that in our pre-season preview. I think we were all in agreement about that. Almost as in, these players don't turn bad players overnight. Every transfer we've made in the past 3 or 4 years have all been, that's a really good player coming to the club, and he's going to change us, and this is why it's great to spend £25 million on Danny Ings and these players. We have so much quality in the squad, but someone needs to knit it together, whether that's Gerrard or his coaching team as well, because obviously we lost Bale and now we've got Critchley. I wonder if there's a bit of a lag in terms of Critchley coming into the club. Obviously didn't have Australia, now he's had 4 weeks of Premier League football. We've had 4 weeks since the league started. I wonder if there's almost a lag in terms of getting Gerrard's ideas across into the team. Obviously, there's change there. It's not ideal at all, but Matt's completely right. You need those players to be coached into the system that's needed, because Luca Dean doesn't go from the French left back, the first choice left back, to not performing against Crystal Palace and being dominated by Jordan Ayew. It doesn't happen like that. So yeah, to me it's down to Gerrard as well. You can't just keep buying new players, and he was fully in agreement with that in the press conference today. He said, it's not up to me to keep demanding players. We need to work with what we have. And I think that's the right attitude. That's how David Moyes has got West Ham in the top 7. He's recruited well, yes, but he's also coached Aaron Cresswell into a centre-half. He's coached all these different players, Rice into one of the best players in the league. And they were relegation fodder a couple of years ago, weren't they, with us? So it just proves what a manager can do with a set of players that are underperforming, I suppose.
Yeah, this isn't really the time to get stuck into Neil Critchley's role, to be honest, but there's a few questions about him coming as a manager and now being a number 2, and there's a lot of talk about Michael Beale kind of being the main man and doing all the talking, whether Critchley's got his ideas across yet, and whether we're seeing kind of what we're seeing at the moment isn't Steven Gerrard's team, but it's Neil Critchley trying to get his ideas across. I don't know whether it's time for kind of debriefing what the setup is like at the moment. We'll probably see how things get if things improve over the next 5 or 6 weeks, people will go, oh yeah, things are starting kind of ticking along nicely. It's only when things aren't going well we all start to go, who's doing what here? I think there was something from another paper today about the Instagram group that was set up last year by Beale to kind of show training pictures not being used as much now and stuff like that. And it's like, this wouldn't be a story if Villa were doing well. It's just one of those things that is something to moan about a little bit. I want to end on the press conference stuff in a second, but there was one from Adam Wright that I just wanted to clear up. He said, was it John or Ash at the press today? Just watched it. Gerrard seemed a bit prickly towards some journos' thoughts. You mentioned it at the start, but it is 2 sections, broadcast and written. The stuff that Adam would have seen is the broadcast section to Sky Sports and people like that.
Yeah,
I don't know what I think about Gerald's comments. Somebody asked this a couple of weeks ago. I think me and Ash spoke about it. Sometimes I don't mind it. I think, yeah, bite back a bit. If it's a stupid question or a silly question, kind of say it's a silly question and kind of defend yourself.
Yeah.
Other times you just think, is that a manager under pressure? Kind of just wanting to bat away a press conference because he wants to get back on the training pitch or whatever, and press is kind of a side piece.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't read anything into it at all. I think he had the Tyra Ming stuff, and he was asked questions every single press conference for weeks on that. That would have grown tiresome. And after just losing to Bournemouth, he's obviously going to bite a little bit, and say that Mings has got to look him in the eyes and earn his place. For me, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Same as Buendia. I think he bit on a Buendia question a few weeks ago. Again, he's been asked about Buendia since the end of March. You're going to bite back at some point. I think it's because it's Gerrard as well. You kind of expect him as Gerrard. When he does something, it's like,
slide tackle,
yeah. In a way, yeah. But to me, none of that's a problem. It's like in the written section, and I think a lot of what's being voiced in terms of negativity and blah blah blah, that would probably come from us written journalists. So Gerrard's fully aware of that, and he's never a problem with the written guys and girls. So yeah, it's honestly not it's no story. He just gets wound up a little bit, I think, with some questions that he'd rather not speak about, or if he's answered something already in the last week. And I don't know, it's tit for tat. You probably get it most press conferences with a different manager, but because it's Gerrard, it's probably highlighted a little bit, and especially because we're in not great form. But no, in the other section, which is the written section, when you probably have more sort of reason to kind of come after us after we write certain things, like the broadcasters will only ask questions. He's probably got a more sort of an excuse to maybe bite us, but he doesn't. He's always really good. He's not, I don't want to say a pleasure to work with because that sounds a bit cringy, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Stop sucking up, John. It's basically a non-story, and what is also a bit of a non-story really is the injury update. I mean, the injury update is that basically everybody but Thiago Carlos is fit and available. Is that correct?
You've literally just completed that as the injury update finished.
It took me 7 seconds.
Clean bill of health. Ludwig Augustinsson training this morning.
Good pronunciation.
I think it was a knock on in his knee or something. So that's why I wasn't in the Bolton squad. So yeah, all good. I think Corey House was the only other injury problem, but obviously I was gone out on loan. So yeah, all good.
Fully fit. Let's move on to the next section, which is away from match day. This is a little bit where we talk about something that isn't West Ham versus Aston Villa related, or Aston Villa versus West Ham, I should say. And today's little topic that I'm going to suggest, I mean, feel free to, this is any other business. If you're in a meeting, this would be the any other business section. So feel free to offer something on the agenda if you want to. But for me, it's the third kit. Third kit came out today. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me what you think.
I do like it. It's very fashionable nowadays for a club to have.
Black
sort of gold, black and yellow. It's very in, isn't it? I think we're probably the last Premier League club to not have an away kit that's black and yellow. So yeah, I like it. I'm not too keen on the kind of details and patterns. I quite like my football shirts to be clean and smart. I don't know, but I don't think it's not that deep really. I think black and yellow is quite nice.
Yeah, it's all right. So 3 people saying it's like a Wolves training kit because it's also Castor and it's black and gold or black and yellow. I don't mind it. I do like black kits, but I like white ones. And we don't have a white shirt this year, so I would quite like to see white. But it's very similar to the sky blue away, I suppose.
What do you think of the white?
It's all right. I've seen it in person a couple of times now, and it's better in person than when I first saw the pictures. But I like white. I like claret and blue for home, white away. I said it might be yellow this year. I'll have some kind of yellow element because that is obviously one of the colours that we've had throughout the years. Black kits are quite fashionable.
I think with the third shirt, you can go a bit wild with it. You do what you want, and keep the away shirt white if you can. I don't know. I'm not. To me, I look at the away shirt against Crystal Palace. You could just see loads of sweat everywhere. It was almost like they're wearing almost like a navy blue, and then the shorts were pale blue. I'm not a fan, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Are you aware of the third kick curse?
Not to be fair, no.
You're not. Okay, so
Please tell
this
me.
is from AVFC Stato. If anyone follows them on Twitter, some of the stats I was speaking to them earlier. I don't know their name. Apologies. I know that they're watching this, so if you want to send me a DM with your name, I'll give you the credit you deserve. Some of the stats, I just think, where have you pulled that from? And they replied to me saying, I've got like an Excel spreadsheet with like 80 pages, and I update it after every game with all these different stats going back, different years of different games and results and stuff. Basically, since Aston Villa returned to the Premier League, Villa have played 14 times in their third kit and only won once against Burnley on New Year's Day. So we've got this bit of a third kit curse. There are, how many is that? 13. There's 13 other losses. No, well, 13 other games we haven't won at least. Can you remember any of those off the top of your head as a little quiz? And then I can give you the answer. I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit.
I know we've obviously played West Ham in the third shirt.
Mm-hmm. 1-1 draw with them on the final day of the season. There you can see that, the green one there.
Goodness me, no. I don't think I could. Don't remember many of our third shirts, to be honest.
I'm going to remove that from the screen so I can go and see it properly. So bear with me a second, because they sent me a direct message with all these stats. And I just thought, I just don't know where all this comes from. So I'm not going to read them all out, but you got a Man City 3-0 defeat, and you beat Burnley, the one I've just shown you. Then we had Liverpool in the shirt that's behind me, I think. Yeah, this one, which was a 3-0. I actually quite like that one, to be fair, with the map of like the Midlands, Birmingham area on it. 2 against West Ham, a draw and a defeat, a draw to Chelsea, another defeat to Burnley, and then we've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 games in a row in the third kit. So we've got this third kick curse that we've lost 8 games in a row. So whenever this third kick comes out, and it'll be the ninth time we played.
Are we just crap away?
Well, yeah, could be a bit of both. We got Man City, West Ham, Brentford, Southampton, Arsenal, Palace, Liverpool, and Burnley were the last 8 games that Villa played in the third kit and lost. Yeah, comment here from Matthew. That's not a third kick curse. That's our form.
We've got a home kick curse as well.
Just curse, full stop. So that was away from match day. Have you got any other business you want to add to the podcast that's away from Villa West Ham? Have you anything else you want to talk about?
I've been inundated with Villa news and everything for the past 24 hours. So no, I don't. I wish I did.
Just want to talk about something else.
Yeah. Have you got anything else?
No, I think that was it. Let's move on. Let's go with predicted 11 then. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we did predicted 11 versus preferred 11, a side that we thought Gerrard would pick, and then a side that I would pick if I was in charge, but I haven't had time to pick a preferred 11, so I'm just going to say I agree with yours. So I'll flash up on screen, and you can talk us through your predicted 11 for Aston Villa versus West Ham.
Nice haircut. Yeah, so Martinez, am I supposed to do this right now?
Yeah, go for it now. Yeah.
So Martinez, Mings, Cash Constantine. Yeah, solid back four. Louise, Kamara, McGinn. I think Louise needs to play for me. I think West Ham. I'm not too sure where Jacob Ramsey's going to get joy. I hope I've jinxed that. But I don't know. They're very compact, aren't they? West Ham playing against Rice, Souček, big defenders. I'm not sure. I don't think they're going to leave much space between their defence. So I think just keeping it compact ourselves with Louise, McGinn, and Kamara. Can we keep the ball well? I don't know. Perhaps. I think Louise gives a better chance of that. And in the final third, I went with Bailey, Coutinho, and Watkins, just because I don't think we'll go 2 up front. I'm not sure if. I think they play 5 at the back, don't they, West Ham, or was it 4? But I know they play with high fullbacks. So I don't know if playing 2 strikers would do too much, because I think you need to match them up on the wings as well. So I'm almost matching them, which is a bit negative to play at home. But to be honest, in the games we've played against West Ham since we got promoted, I don't think we've had much luck against them at all, have we? So I'm okay to match them. And can we sneak a goal here and there? I think it's a game that it's not a must not lose this early into the season. But
I think it is.
Do you think?
I think so. I mean, I don't know what losing means. I don't think we'd sack Gerrard if we lost, but losing and having a bad atmosphere and stuff again, just get a win. Just you get rid of all that, and then you've got this nice little period then of beating Bolton. Yes, it's Bolton League One.
The rest of must not lose. I think I meant must not win. I think is what I'm trying to say.
As in, a draw will be fine. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. But losing,
that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Yeah, you beat Bolton and get something at West Ham, at least a draw, hopefully a win, and then you've got a transfer window to end as well. And if you do sign a couple of players out of nowhere, the atmosphere then is totally different and it's transformed in like a week's time. So if you lose on Sunday, I do think that is again, I don't know whether it means the end for Gerrard or what, whether it's as brutal as that. I don't think it would be.
Avoid at all
But just the
costs.
atmosphere and stuff, just get at least a point. I think people would recognise that as being a decent point,
need-
regardless of the start West Ham have had.
And we need to be solid. I think that's the point I'm trying to get across.
Play well.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think they haven't scored yet, and obviously, again, that will probably change at the weekend. But they're not free scoring, are they, at the moment? That's the point. If they get one goal, I'm right to think we can score against them as well. So you kind of, it might not be a very entertaining game, but I think that's how we're going to have to play the game. If we take it to them, we could probably get caught out. So I'd rather see us play solid, just because we haven't been solid in the first 3 weeks either. So I think let's aim for a clean sheet. Should we say that? And then we can move on with it, hopefully a couple of goals and 3 points. Then you say transfer deadline day, 2 games, almost 3 hits in a way. And then who's after that? Southampton and Leicester, 2 teams that we can definitely beat. So.
I said I haven't had time to make a graphic of my own, so I'm going to just flash yours up again so I can at least read through it and make some changes. So Martinez, I agree with. Cash, Dean, and Mings, I agree with. I'd have Chambers in there though. I'll come back to that in a second. The midfield, I agree with, but I would be tempted to have Ramsey in there. But I like the idea of Louise. I think he will help us retain the ball better. So it'll probably be dropping McGinn, but I don't see that happening as him being captain. Bailey, Coutinho, Watkins, I don't mind if that's a 4-3-3, but again, I'll be tempted with Buendia behind Ings and Watkins again and sticking with that more narrow formation and just being a bit, keep compact at the back. And if it's just long balls over the top to the strikers, again, like you said, be solid at the back as a base point. Just because it's a narrow system, I'd rather Cash and Dean just held back a bit and just keep the foundation steady first of all. Chambers, I'd prefer in there, but would that be our 4th centre-half pairing in 4 games? Is that right?
Yeah.
Carlos and Mings started.
Yeah.
Mings and Carlos have played.
Yeah, it would be.
Mings and Chambers, I haven't played yet. So Mings and Carlos are third then, yeah. No. It was Carlos and Konsa on the first day. Then it was Carlos and Mings. Then it was Mings and Konsa. So this would be Mings and Chambers would be 4 centre-half pairings in 4 games, yeah.
Mings and Chambers in the cup as well, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like him in there, but that is a lot of change. And again, if you want to be good at the back, you've probably got to have a bit of consistency somewhere. But Konsa's not been good for.
No, I agree.
The only thing
with Chambers is against Bolton, I wasn't particularly impressed. And I'm a massive fan of Chambers. As I said at the start of the season, I think he'd be my number 1 centre half to play alongside Carlos. But he looked a bit shaky against Bolton. Maybe I'm just singling him out because I don't think we were brilliant in that first 30 minutes anyway. But yeah, I'm mainly targeting or trying to nullify what they have, and that's Antonio and Scamacca. To be honest, I'm not too sure whether Chambers or Konsa, which one is going to deal with either striker better than the other. So I'd be happy to go with Chambers over Konsa if needs be.
Okay. Let's end with predictions then. I'm going to try and screen share my nerdy Excel spreadsheet that I've got. So bear with me a second, but you can talk through yours first because you're not on it because obviously it's me and Ash do the previews usually. So your score prediction and how you see the game going. What do you think?
Yeah, my score prediction, I'm going to say I think 1-1. I don't think there's going to be too many goals because, as I say, I think Moyes they are going to go for the win. He's just said on his press conference they're going to set up to win the game. But I think, again, I think Gerrard knows that if this is a game that we lose, it's backs against the walls already. 4 games into the season. So just staying compact, I think, must be the message that he's going to be sending his players. Although a win would be great, I think he's almost counting on our. He's mentioned in the press conference, he's sort of counting on the crowd and everything to sort of deliver the the support for the team, and maybe that's what's going to drive us through it. I think that's probably where he's coming from. I don't think he's going to be setting up with Coutinho, Buendia, Bailey, everyone kind of jamming forward, and we're going to attack West Ham and take the game to them. I just can't see it. So I think 1-1. I think it's a score draw. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'll get to mine in a second, but AFC Sato was watching. He said that is me earlier on while we were talking about him, and he sent me a DM. His name is Dale. So Dale, thank you very much for all your hard work and your statage. Pat pulls out some good stats out of nowhere, but AFC Stato pulls some stuff out. I think, how the hell does he even know that? Where's he seeing that? Where's he got that from? So yeah, big fan of that. Here's my geeky spreadsheet. I mean, it's not that bad. So I said, I mean, it is bad. It's colour coded. But I said, we do these previews and we ask for score prediction. And I thought at the start of the season, what am I even asking for? We never go back to it. We never care about it. We just say numbers, basically. So I've got Pat's in there because obviously Pat writes the preview for the newsletter. He's put Villa to win every game, the first 4, without us even conceding a goal. It's quite small, but Pat's had us to win 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, and he's put 1-1 for West Ham on Sunday.
You've got us unbeaten.
I've also got us unbeaten, so people saying that we're negative. When we do our predictions, we're very positive.
Yeah.
Ash put a 3-0 Everton win there, but he did that as kind of to jinx it, basically. He said, if I say we lose, we'll probably win. So he didn't think we'd lose, but he put it in there for that reason. Points-wise, you get 3 points for correct outcome. So if you get the score bang on, 3 points for correct score, 1 point for the correct outcome. So just getting the win result, win, draw, loss, and obviously no points if you don't get anything. We got 1 point against Everton. So I said we win 1-0, but we won 2-1. Ash got Bolton spot on with 4-1 wins. We get 3 points for that. I said we'd win 3-1, so I get 1 point for that. So I've got 2 points. Ash has got 3. Pat's got 0, as far as I'm aware. No, he would be on
Everton 1 point.
2. He'll be on the same as me because we did the same thing. So very long-winded. Sorry for that. Ash says West Ham 2-2. He said, let the drama unfold or something like that is the text he sent me. Pat said 1-1. You've said 1-1. So I was going to go for a draw because I thought that was probably the sensible answer. But I've got, if you want to be the top of this league table, you've got to have a rogue shout in there, haven't you? So which way am I going to go? Is that what you're about to ask? Am I going to go rogue shout, a win or defeat? So I've been positive. I've had Villa to be unbeaten throughout the season. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to go the opposite way. I'll say that we'll lose in the similar kind of vein to Ash, in that maybe that will be reverse psychology and we'll get something.
Too negative.
I'll go with 1-2, 2-1 West Ham, a defeat for Aston Villa at home. Let's colour code that red, in the hope that's a bit of a reverse psychology and we do win. But I would absolutely take a draw. Like I just said, I think it's a difficult start that West Ham have had in terms of not scoring a goal so far. And they played in Europe on Thursday and stuff like that. But that's not going to last forever. They will score a goal at some point. They will get their first points at some point. And that is still a difficult game for us. So, yeah, I don't know what our record's like against West Ham. I mean, AVFC Sato Dale, if you're still watching, send me some figures of our West Ham records. That'd be great. But I don't think it's good, is it? Our record against West Ham. So I'd take a point. But if we do win, obviously that is huge for us. Matt Kendrick said, when did you introduce a new spreadsheet section? Surely I'd excel at that. I mean, Matt, if you actually came on the podcast at some point, you could get involved with these things. I've never seen him watching, to be fair, so that's a nice thing. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. So, yeah, that's our match preview for the West Ham game. Touching on the press conference, any injury updates, the third kit release, predicted 11, and our score predictions. As always, you can get involved in the comments as well and drop your score predictions in the comment section. I won't be tracking those in the spreadsheet, though, because that's just way too much work. I'm sorry. John, thank you very much for joining me. And you're covering the game on Sunday.
Yes.
I'm working Saturday, so I'm off Sunday, so I won't be doing the podcast. I won't be watching the game. Unfortunately, I'm busy elsewhere. So you're there, and Matt Kendrick is going to be doing the podcast. But Matt Kendrick is also busy on Sunday. So the podcast is going to be Monday, unfortunately. Yep. So that's the heads up. There won't be a post-match show on Sunday evening. It'll be Monday morning, probably 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that. And it'll be you and Matt Kendrick, John and Matt Kendrick, for those that are listening, doing the podcast on Monday morning. So no post-match podcast on Sunday, if anyone's wondering where we are. Thank you very much for watching this match preview on this Friday afternoon. John, thanks for your time as always. Go and get yourself back on your busy shift. Thanks everyone for watching, especially Dale from AVFC Stato and Matt Kendrick, who says he's too busy to come on the podcast. Yeah, he's skiving off, isn't he? That's why. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you again on Monday. Up the Villa. Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.